Hi there, welcome back to the Average Person Advice channel. I'm the Average Guy Nick, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about fall cleanup and maintenance. If you own a house or a property where you have a garden, there's a number of different things you need to do. So I'm probably going to break this into sort of a bit of a video series. So today specifically, or this video specifically, I'm going to talk about garden cleanup in fall. So let's go out to the garden and we'll get started. So these are the tools we're going to need to do the cleanup in the garden. Obviously you want a pair of gloves so you don't get your hands, scratched up or hurt. You need a pair of shears, or this is actually loppers. This is more for like trimming a tree, but you can use these to cut down other things as well. Of course, a spade or some other kind of hand shovel to be able to dig out things. And then we're going to need some manure to put a fresh coat on top of the garden. And we're going to need mulch after the manure, and the mulch basically helps keep the soil a bit warmer while also adding additional nutrients as the mulch itself breaks down and decomposes into the soil. So we have two areas we're going to try to clean up today. First one is sort of my raised bed here. This is actually my main garden because I have a pretty small backyard. Then the second thing is where I grow a lot of my actual vegetables over here in a bunch of different pots and grow bags that I have. So what we're going to have to do is take out all these annuals because they're dead now. And then I'm also going to reuse these grow bags and containers for next year. So I'm going to top them up with some compost and some mulch so that they're ready to go for next year. The grow bags, I'll probably put them away because they're a little more fragile. Whereas these containers here, I'll probably just leave them out for the winter. I don't think there'll be any issues with that. So with these ones, the roots are pretty deep, so what we're probably going to have to do is get a spade in there while also pulling on the other side and see if we can rip the whole thing out, or at least the majority of it. So I'm going to give that a shot now. So they actually came out really easy. I basically pulled. I did have to get the spade down a little bit for this one, but it really wasn't too bad. So pretty easy to do, and this is kind of what the end result is. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put some compost on and then some mulch, and that way these will be ready to go for when I'm ready to plant next year. So I finished removing the tomato plants. As you can see, their roots were a lot bigger. Because they're in the grow bags, I just kind of like literally picked the whole thing up and kind of shook it, which loosened it up. I was able to take it out without too much problem. I found the spade didn't really help that much because the roots actually encompass pretty much the entire bag. So anyways, good lesson learned for next year on how we're going to be able to take these out. So as you can see, once I got them out, I was able to shake off most of the dirt. Now the grow bag's ready to go for next year. So what I'll probably do is, they're a bit wet on the bottom, let them dry off, and then I'll kind of put them into storage because I don't think they'll survive the elements as well as, say, a traditional container or pot. So on this side of the garden, we have some herbs, primarily mint and parsley. Now they're perennials, so they'll come back year over year. So I don't want to completely de-root them because that will stop them from growing back. But I do want to trim it back and clean it up and try to get into one area of the garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some of the stuff that's closer to the front here, and then the stuff closer to the back, I'm going to cut it down basically to the root level, and hopefully then we'll get it to regrow next year. So as you can see, I've cut it all back now. I've just kind of chopped it up, and I'm actually going to use it itself as its own sort of natural compost. So it should deteriorate over the course of the rest of fall and winter and add nutrients back into the soil. So next step now is I'm going to start adding the compost in. Now I've heard different things about tilling your soil, so kind of turning it or facing it. Based on the research I've done and some of the experts I've talked to, tilling isn't always the best because it tends to disturb the soil. And if you have any bulbs or anything else planted, it's probably going to create a problem for those as well. So what I usually like to do is just add a layer of compost around to the top and then put some mulch directly on that. And those nutrients will eventually seep down into the soil even if you don't till it. So here's the after shot after I'm done cleaning up. As you can see, the plants that were there have now been taken out. I've got it topped up with some extra compost and put in some of the dead foliage to let it decompose and add additional nutrients back into the soil. So all that's been cleaned up. And the grow bags I had, all the tomatoes have been taken out. Like I said, the grow bags are ready to go. I've let them dry a bit. I'm going to put them away for the winter. And then on the other side here, I've added some of the compost as well as some of the mulch. I didn't go super heavy on the mulch yet because I'm going to have to put more down in spring anyways after the plants come up, because the mulch stops the weeds while also allowing you to water less because the mulch absorbs the water. So ultimately mulching is a really good activity to do. So that's pretty much it. That's how we do the full cleanup here. And then the last piece was the tomatoes and stuff that I had, or the plants I should say that I had taken out. You have a couple of options. I mean, if you have a compost, you can compost them. I don't, so I cut them up and I put them into basically yard waste bags, which the city will come and pick up later in the fall. Hey guys, so that's it. We've completed cleaning up the gardens, so I hope it was helpful to show you sort of the process and steps I take. I mean, obviously there are people that have much bigger gardens and there's going to be much more involved in that. For the next video, I'm probably going to show what we have to do with, sort of the leaf cleanup, turning off your hose bibs and water supply and draining those so that the pipes don't freeze. And just some other general fall maintenance tips and requirements if you have a property that requires that kind of maintenance work. And I'm thinking I'll probably also do a video on how to change your tires over. I know here in Canada we usually have to throw on winter tires all seasons. Usually don't cut it for our winters and how bad our roads can get. So yeah, look forward to those videos. If you like this, if you like the channel, if you like the videos, if you like what I'm doing, please smash that like button and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. All right, guys, have a good one for now. Average Guy signing out.